Hey, news, everything else, hotness, crowdfunding, whatever else I want to talk about in this video, because it's my channel and I love talking about things that entertain me and hopefully entertain you at the same time. Roundup yesterday, a lot of small funding projects, and we'll see where some of those indie ones go, but it's not why you tuned in. What is new, what is out there, and why am I talking about it? Because I want to. Anyway, so what is new in the past week? What is out there? What do you need to know about? What matters? Matters, asterisks. Anyway, sorry. Again, can't take myself too seriously. Otherwise, I'm never going to escape this. So, what are we talking about today? Well, first up, a couple new games. A couple things have come across our radar. And then, you know what? The cold open here is actually going to be something that's I referred to a little bit yesterday at the end of the, should you back, whatever, crowdfunding roundup, if you will. How do you feel about embargoes? How do you feel about content that is just all of a sudden mass released, right? And I mentioned this yesterday. I have come across a few campaigns, a few publishers that have said, don't release stuff until. Please don't release it until, right? And sometimes it's a window, sometimes it's a hard, you shall not release. And it's just always interesting to see how that goes, because other times you have people that are just like, whatever, dude, right? And it sort of gave me the contrasting style of things, because two recent embargo releases-esque vibes. Maybe not even embargo. I can't even use that word. I know Stonemaier does embargoes, right? And they say you can't publish content on whatever game we're sending you. Usually their newest. In this case, it was the Expeditions, Gears of Corruption, that just all of a sudden, everybody, if you were subscribed to Board Game Geek page, right, you see those links pop up literally hour after hour after hour after hour. From, usual people that you would expect. And there you go. Similarly, this past week, we saw it with Grimcoven. Grimcoven, I don't know if Awakened Realms actually puts out an embargo. I think sometimes in those cases, it's also hard to tell with some of the hottest of the hot. The hottest of the hot. It's hard to tell if that's actually an embargo or if that's just people literally getting the box and trying to make content the second they have it as well, right? And I can't tell the difference because, again, the videos all come out back to back to back to back as well within a 12-hour, 16-hour, 18-hour period. So I have no idea. Can't tell the difference. But I'm always intrigued by that because, again, Stonemaier, contrary to Awakened Realms, I feel like Stonemaier really does usual the, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Here's the, designer this, designer this, designer this, designer this, release! And then sometimes other people are just like, release! And I have no idea. What do you think? Do either of those matter to you? Because I've also had a few people say okay, Chris, our crowdfunding campaign is this day. Do not release it until at least one day before. You cannot put anything else out there. I'm horrible sometimes. If I know I don't have to have it out until a certain deadline, I kind of procrastinate a little bit. That is my personal fault. And on the other side of things, I don't really know how this affects backers, right? I've never seen or had any concrete information that says to me, objectively, we get more people if we do this. We get more people if we just throw it out all at once to you. I don't know, right? Because on my side of things, again, it's usually, speaking, again, never putting words in other people's mouths, right? Always, when I say something like this, I'm putting words in my mouth, right? I put something out in a hurry because I'm trying to get more clicks, right? Transparency here, right? Because I know if I'm one of the first people out there on a popular subject, topic, whatever it may be, when we talked about the launch boom thing a couple months ago, whatever it was, you get a little bit more from that side of things. And truth be told, there is I'd be lying to you if there wasn't internally. At the same time, that's also clearly not why I do this anymore either. Which is why, sometimes I'm also just very happy not to have that looming over me. I just got 2 games in the mail this past week of current crowdfunding campaigns, right? I just got Rebirth from Mighty Boards. The prototype was just sent to me. Thank you, Alex. And then I just got How to Save the World from Burnt Island. So, those are 2 that I'm going to be, looking at in the near future during the campaigns, which I think, honestly, is a little bit also maybe even more valuable for myself as I get more talking about them. And then also I have 2 that are coming out this coming week. We'll talk about those in the upcoming crowdfunding view portion of this video, if you will. Wormwood, or Sovereign Wormwood now, and they renamed it. And then also I have Bunny Boom. Both of those are going to be, you know, coming out this week. And so I guess I just am always conflicted because personally speaking, I don't have a strong opinion on when it comes out to influence me, right? But I don't know. I feel like there must be something out there, sort of like the Tuesday afternoons on crowdfunding that everyone does. That's been basically totally debunked. Let's be honest. You know, Stonemeyer's, crowdfunding articles from years and years ago, that's basically what it was. But now, honestly, you put out a good project, you have a good following, no one cares what day you put it out on. Well, you don't want to be out on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but any other Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday really freaking doesn't matter. CMON's kind of gone against the grain there with their Wednesday releases now as the original Tuesdays, as the originator of that, I mean. And so I don't think that matters. I don't think the timing of these videos matters. Personally speaking, you know, I kind of like the Stonemeyer approach of, you know what? A month, a week later, a week later, a week later. I mean, it's slowly, again, you know, we talk about stuff on this video every time about the hotness and what stays on the hotness. How do you stay on the hotness? You get continuity. Otherwise, you get the spike and you drop down and you're off, right? Unless you're like Dune Imperium or Arc Nova. So that is just where my head is at. And I just wonder, does that echo home with anybody else? Am I just, you know, taking crazy pills here and shouting at the moon? So what else do we got going on this week? Well, just a couple other things I want to talk about. Star Wars Unlimited, the pre-orders for the Shadows of Galaxy expansion. Now, again, stay with me here. I'm not harping, the exploits and the amazingness of Star Wars Unlimited this section. I'm actually more concerned because pre-orders just came out this week and people were like, okay, are people getting their allocations? Do they actually know? Asmodee sold out. People have been scalping the first run edition prints boxes on the secondary market now for weeks because they're, you know, slow on the reprint side of things. And they're basically sold out across the internet for these pre-orders that weren't actually supposed to go up until like this week. And it's not supposed to release for another like 6 or so weeks from the time of me filming this. So that's crazy. But the part that also pisses me off is you have people like CSI, cool stuff, not the show, cool stuff, or at least prior to me filming this, they weren't even selling at MSRP. They were basically like the secondary market right now. Again, like from a market standpoint, you know, if I want to buy a box right now of Star Wars Unlimited, it's going to cost me somewhere between $200 and $250, depending on the person, price, timing, and everything else, right? But normally at retail, if you go to Asmodee's website, they're $199, they're $119.95, 99, whatever, right? $120. And that's what most retailers were selling them for. Plenty of places, though, especially with the first time around, were selling them anywhere between like 95 and 119. So, you know, you get a little mileage may vary there. Cool Stuff has decided that they're just going to say, skip it, screw it, and they're just going to charge $200 straight from the get-go because they have seen the demand and the selling out of things. So I'm not sure if they're sold out at this time, but you know what? Screw you. Screw you from a consumer standpoint. Again, you never have to buy it. It's a TCG sort of model, and, you know, I can't, you know, totally endorse it, whatever. But, I mean, that's basically giving the middle finger. You know, you're making some money, but man, that doesn't sit right. That doesn't sit right with me at all. And I guess if people will pay it right, again, great. But you know what? No, I'm sorry. So what else we got going on? Aquatica, right? I know the big jump there. Good transition, Chris. Really doing well today. Aquatica, 2 new things from Aquatica. One, Arcane Wonders has a new expansion out for Aquatica, which is going to be coming out in these coming months over the convention style of things. The Coral Reefs expansion, new underwater creatures, Southern Tribes, more underwater creatures, characters, and a manta ray that can turn the rules of the game upside down as an engine building strategy-esque game, trying to become the most powerful Sea King that you can. Combos, capture locations, recruit creatures, go, right? This is going to fit in with the other Cold Waters expansion, new modules, goals, mechanics, and core reef miniatures with transparent reef cards. Not sure how I feel about that. 50 minutes to play, 1 to 5 players. It's about all the info that's out there. But Cosmodrome is also putting out a 2-player Aquatic Dueling. 2 rulers fight for power head-to-head now. You get to be either, now get this, right, Turtle King or Squid Queen. And again, I'm not making that up. That's straight ripped from Board Game Geek. Underwater Realm, action cards, assembling locations, 3-player boards that you're doing it decades over time, and well, you're either a fin or a tentacle winner. So new, I didn't make this one up, this is not a dad pun, new layer of depth, right, in the deep sea game. Anyway, I don't know, is this going to be the equivalent of something like a Splendor Duel? I'm intrigued. Open drafting, hand management, action retrieval, market style mechanisms, what they're labeling it for. So absolutely no details on this whatsoever. So if you have any interest, well, I mean, we'll see when Cosmodrome, their kind of timetable is all over the place sometimes, and it's hard to get direct information from their website, but well, we'll see where it goes. The other thing, getting an expansion, Merchants of the Dark Road. I've seen it advertised several times on Facebook from Elf Creek Games. They're going to be doing a combo campaign as well with their little Christmas game. I forget the name of it at the time of me filming this, but 1 to 4 players, Merchants of the Dark Road. This is one of those, I think it's well thought of, but I also think that a lot of people ended up selling it because they didn't think it was as what they wanted as a whole. So you've got these basically merchant ships, caravans, little wagons, essentially, right? That you're moving around these circles on the board, different action locations, selections, deluxeifications. This is one of the biggest ones I remember as an early, more Euro-style deluxeified game. And I don't think it's sold very well in the secondary market for some of those deluxeifications, because I think a lot of people got in on it, and it was one of those where a lot of people also sold it. And so I think it didn't hold up as well price-wise, but who really cares, right? That doesn't really matter. Who cares about that whatsoever? So that's what you're doing. It's got a rondel action system here, and we're getting a Secret Villages expansion again here. Additional locations and extra content, question mark? You're getting 2 new modules, essentially, what you're doing. The first, Secret Villages, 3 new locations on the road. Rewards, opportunities are going to be increasing based on the travel actions, and going to add a quote-unquote light engine build style of things. And then Ringway Rumors adds rumor tokens to the game. Everyone wonders what happens when you go there and see what happens to get different strategies when you sell heroes at the inn, I guess, right? Integrate them individually together, solo mode as well, mini campaign to go along with it, and we'll see where it goes. So does that intrigue you? Do you still have that game? Are you still interested in that game? Is that one that was on your radar, off your radar, or is it something that you should be looking out for in the near future as well? Santa's Workshop, that's what it was. See, I think they're doing it with that. Again, a lot of hype I saw from like media side of things, but again, I didn't really see it from anything else. So we'll see if it has the table presence. Oh, I went with it. To offer some additional support for a campaign to go all together. The other thing I want to talk about, speaking of retailers and my disgust with that, right? Like we talked about Earthborn Rangers a couple weeks ago, and Slay the Spire got the endorsement as well from the big channels. And so both of those are like sold out across the interwebs. And Slay the Spire is actually available either like later in June or July. I forget which one it's pre-orderable, but right now that's going to be out there. But where I'm going with that is back to Earthborn Rangers. Is I saw a pre-order for Earthborn Rangers yesterday, or not even yesterday, a couple days ago, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Right? Like I was like, oh my gosh. Again, just the ridiculousness of this hobby that I think, I don't know where it's coming from, to be frank with you. I won't tell you what online retailer, but it just irritated me because, right, it's May. It's the middle of May when I saw this, and they are pre-ordering for Earthborn Rangers, which is hot, and people, again, want to do the, make money off of stuff, right? So I understand it, capitalism all the way, right? Woohoo! But they were selling a pre-order for quarter forking one of 2025, right? Right? Am I just, again, taking crazy pills here? Like, you're going to pre-order a retail game almost 9 months in advance. Holy F-balls, Batman. So, again, I just wanted to throw that out there. Then the other thing that came across my radar was the sequel, standalone expansion to Catapult Feud. Now you're going to have that with dinosaurs. It's called Jurassic Feud. And that was a 2021 game from Vesuvius Media. So, yeah, I got the email from them, and they're putting it out there. So, Catapult Kingdoms, Catapult Feud, personal game of last man standing. So, you just go back and forth and shoot stuff at each other's castles and try and knock it down. So construction, destruction, plastic blocks, and figures. So do you like that sort of thing? Now with a dinosaur Jurassic Park theme. Take it for what you will. Then we have to talk about something that I've been getting in my email the last 2 weeks. You know what? Mythic, I applaud you for trying, and it's basically a D for effort. So these emails, I don't know if you get them, right? I'm still signed up to their stuff, right? So the emails for Six Siege, right? The cluster F that was Six Siege. Now we get these comments, these emails that, like, there's not even quotes on this. The top of the email says, best skirmish game I've ever tested. Almost sold out. Random latest players review on Board Game Geek. I'm going to read these off for you right straight from the email. Awesome implementation of skirmish game. Probably the best 1v1 I've ever tested. Congrats to the designers. The game itself is incredibly good, exciting, extremely tactical. Considering all the contents, it was worth every penny. Definitely surprise title of the year. Okay. This game is dope. I was frustrated I had to pay so much for it, but it's worth the cost and more. Gamer, don't miss out on this amazing game. We're almost out. FOMO, we're almost out. Random screenshot of a very carefully selected quotes. Mind you, at the end of this email, it's literally only the ones that they basically copied and quoted here. So you can see, like this one. Oh, no, that's the only thing they're going to let me actually blow up. So, but you can see all the greenness right here on this left side, right? Again, I'm not making this stuff up, right? This was the quotes all right there that you can see. Almost sold out. So when we go back over to the page and you click the link, well, I mean, this was sent to me days ago. This was sent to me like over a week ago with the first one. It doesn't look almost sold out here. It looks like everything is freaking available for markup. Base game, $140 freaking dollars. So this better be, apart from the little cookies thing down there, this better be freaking awesome. This better be that for this price point, right? And how much are you going to charge me for shipping? Because I'm going to guess that shipping isn't going to come free with this as well. So, I mean, this better be the game that gets you some money back in your pocketbook, because if it doesn't, then you're a little bit, you know, kind of even more in trouble with this one. But man, just, you know, it's sort of like certain videos that you see and you go, really? 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 So then, let's go over to the upcoming crowdfunding this week. Again, this is a big week in crowdfunding. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, we will actually be going over all of the biggest of the year for June, because June is by far and away the biggest month so far of the year. And we've already got some big heavy hitters leading the month off, if you will. I mean, Grimcoven, right? I probably shouldn't rant and rave on this one any further, right? It's the boss battler, like I mentioned at the beginning. All of the big names that you see with all of the Awakened Realms projects, and that's a different subject. Like, how do you feel about the same people getting the same companies' games every single campaign, right? Like, I have a couple companies that really like using me. IV Studios, I cover almost all their stuff. And so, you know, just things like that. Like, that's another weird point I've never really touched on in the hobby, and I'm going to make people mad if I touch on it. But it's just, again, like an interesting thought of things. And I don't blame them either at the same time. I'm not, you know, negative shade, nothing going on here. Just random thoughts that come, you know, stream of consciousness going on. Because you also want your game to go to people who love your game. Leaving it alone. So that is going to be up first, and we're going to see where Grimcoven goes. Like I said in my video tomorrow, I would be shocked if this isn't one of the highest funders of the year, barring DC United. DC United. And the more I see about this, the more I just think, okay, this is one of those games where I'm never going to play it. I'm never going to be able to get to the table. I love the idea of it, and the actuality of it's never going to work for me. And so Townsfolk Tussle-esque on steroids. That's what I'm getting vibes of. I don't know how you get the customizable, upgradable, campaign-esque vibe without actually doing a campaign, especially with the carryover and especially the, you know, boss battling style of things as a whole without making it too complicated as well. And I just hope that we have a freaking rulebook on day one. If we don't have a rulebook on day one, I'm going to be a little bit peeved. I always give Awakened Realms kudos, though, because they separate out the miniatures from the actual gameplay pledges. So I would hope that that custom, that tradition stays true here. But what do you think of the content that's out there so far? Has it impressed you? Have you been turned on? Have you been turned off by it? Do you need one of these? Do you have place for one of these? Are you going to get it played? And can you play it at the lower player counts, right? Like, that's the other big conundrum with these style of games. The big issue I have with Aeon Trespass Odyssey, not that it's anything but fantastic, but that it requires me to play with 4 characters. Can I play Grimcoven with 1? Is it going to be scalable to 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or am I going to be forced to play 2-handed, 3-handed, whatever, right? And that's not necessarily what I want. But again, those games aren't always as adaptable, so this one's going to be an interesting test to give you some comparatively, what is it doing differently from that aspect? And I'll save the rest of the commentary for tomorrow. Mythic Battles Egypt, though. Mythic Battles Egypt, I know it's called something else. I'm calling it that because I don't care. Pantheon, it's a Egyptian pantheon right now. And so a couple emails, a couple, you know, pictures of, you know, colored miniatures, which always, my miniatures are never going to look like that. So I just, it's not a turn on for me. That doesn't entice me anymore because I know they're not going to look like that. So it's almost a turn off because I go, I can't make mine look that, so I'm not going to buy it. Anyway, Mythic Battles Ragnarok is one of the most underrated 2-player asymmetric duelers out there, but it's also one of the most difficult to get to the table because of the rules overhead, because of the drafting, because of the different schemes that they've got now with 2 Pantheons already, now with a 3rd to mix and match. It's probably one of those games that I would dare say that I easily have way too much of, and it's probably going to be an easy pass for me just because I don't want any more, and I actually want to kind of get rid of some of my stuff that I've already got already. And I worry about power creep with a 3rd time around with a game this expansive and this extensive from Monolith. I give them a lot of kudos. I think they do a lot of great things with this. But when you start getting into the 3rds or plus with a lot of these games, right, how much further can you go this way in terms of complexity instead of this way, as we see with power creep with a lot of these games, whatever it may be, Aeon's End or any of your gacha games that I play, Marvel Puzzle Quest, and we're seeing more of that all in all, because essentially you want to get new people in and you want to make the old stuff obsolete, but the only way the old stuff's going to be obsolete is because you make the new stuff better. Otherwise, you just get people picking and choosing, and you don't want people picking and choosing. You want people picking and choosing them all, right? That's marketing, that's capitalism, and that's a business. So that's what we have to talk about. Then the other one that I just mentioned as well, Agemonia, is going to be giving you a reprint and new content as well, new characters, new expansion content, whatever that's going to entail on the 4th. All of these are launching on this week. 6th on Grimcoven, 4th on the rest of these. And so that's going to be the other question is Agemonia. How do you feel about that? It's got great reviews from another dungeon crawling style situation with open world vibe, but right, where's your money going? Where's your money going? There's at least more information out there. There's reviews out there, but it's, again, recently delivered, and so they're striking while the iron is hot and trying to capitalize on it. I personally don't know enough about it mechanically to speak how different it is from that sense, but give it a look-see. And then we also have 7th Citadel, the 7th Continent sequel standalone, which is apparently better. And truth be told, they sent me a copy, so I will be reviewing it sometime during the campaign. I'm not going to have it ready for this week. This is a big game. So I will have something out during it, but we'll see. And, do people really like it? Is the money going to be there, right? Like 7th Continent was really new, really innovative, really unique, and really just hugely hot and hyped when it first got out and selling for gadzooks in the secondary market. And then the second crowdfunding game came out, more people got their hands on it, and more people said, I don't really like this, is just not for me. And so I wonder if 7th Citadel is going to be the same, or, if they've addressed a lot of the criticisms, critiques, or, issues people have with it, and it's going to appeal to more people. But again, I'd mark the argument that if you didn't like the first one, I'm not sure this one's going to change your mind. But I am one of those people, so we'll see if it actually does change my mind, and you can tune in and find out from that aspect. Then Sovereign, Fall of Wormwood, formerly known as Wormwood, is also going to be an asymmetric faction, lane battling style, card-driven, asymmetric, just kind of cool everywhere factions are going to be launching this week as well. And I will have a video out hopefully on Monday talking about that one. In addition, the cool, unique asymmetric art and the dynamics that are going to be going along with that. As you know, I love my head-to-head 2-player duelers, and this one is going to be another very, very interesting one. It gives me very vibes of the one I covered at the end of the last year in November, Singularity.exe, or Singularity as it was known as. And so I really enjoyed that one as well. And I like doing these things a little bit different. It's a little bit more complex. It's got a little bit more going on, but it's also, not as unintuitive as you may fear with these situations as a whole. So I really kind of like what we've got going on from that aspect of things so far. Then my friends over at Ruse Games, they sent me a copy, and I'll have a game video out sometime this week as well, maybe on launch day if I'm lucky. But it's been one of those convoluted, crowded weeks sort of things from a lifestyle standpoint, right? So Bunny Boom, there's a bunny problem, and you play your cards to push rabbits as far as possible and make opponents pick them up because, well, each time an opponent gets new cards, you force them to collect more bunnies, and the last one standing wins in an area movement, multi-use, action drafting style game. So light, 15 to 30 minutes, 2 to 4 players. I like it. I just like this style of things. And so when they said, hey, would you want to talk about a bunny-based game? I said, yeah, man, sign me up. This isn't going to raise $100,000 or $1 million, right? But you know me, I like this style of stuff, right? I've had a couple this year that have been great surprises by that. Trick Takers, the previously mentioned Faraway, Power Vacuum, which I covered the other week as well. So just this light style indie thing, I'll have a video out as well, maybe with a combination. I might do a couple reviews, mini style that way, because I know you guys like that a little bit better than the individual ones, especially for these small indie crowdfunding ones. So maybe we'll do a little bit of that as well. Then one of the other ones that's going to be launching, and you may have seen the Board Game Geek ads for this. This is like the heavier gamers, Euro style, biggest drooling from the media side of things game so far this year that I've heard of and heard about from Alley Cat Games. And it's Ada Lovelace building the first computer and doing an alternate history Euro style game with dice, workshop, rondel, lecturing, and traveling the UK to complete assignments from Ada in the first place. So dice, rondel, manipulation, and literal, it says, literal, I'm not sure how it's going to work, literal engine building. So, first in the Great Thinkers trilogy from Alley Cat Games. So does that entice you? Well, some of the bigger people for Euro side of things have some videos out on Board Game Geek, so you can check that one out. Look, see, even now, at the time of me airing, filming, and talking about it in the first place, to see if it's right for you, and to see what sort of deluxifications this Euro-style game is going to have, right? Boom shakalaka. That is your week right now. And that's the stuff we know. That's the stuff we know. And that's only the first week of June. Is that not intense? I wasn't kidding. Check out the video tomorrow if you want to know more. Spoilers. So what else is on the hotness now? Wonder's the first CCG. Ooh, they're still drumming up hotness and clicks over there because people are still yelling about stuff that's getting doxed and, you know, designers getting names thrown around and stuff like that. I'm not going to feed into it. You just need to know that it's going on and you don't need to care about it because it's still somehow strumming, thrumming, and going. So then, as we talked about at the beginning, expeditions, the expansion, I told you, the clicks, the, you know, embargo, the releasing of information, Gears of Corruption. Is it going to change your mind if you weren't a fan? Probably not. Is it going to change your mind if you were a fan? Probably not. You're going to get more of a good thing. You're going to get more of a little bit of everything. And it's going to give you a little bit of something twisty new along the way. That's kind of what's got going on, right? How do you feel about that one? Radlands is still sitting there because I talked about it last week, the Radlands expansion. There is no Board Game Geek entry yet at the time of me filming this, but you know I'm going to be getting that all over the place. I think they actually said it's going to go to retail, so I'm really hyped for this. Now, the other issue that people were bringing up as well was like, okay, I'm looking back there because Radlands is hiding back up there, was that it was going to fit, if they did an expansion, they said apparently the first campaign, it was all going to fit in the original game box. So is that going to actually happen? We'll see. I don't know. Then Sphinx, SFYNX. I just clicked that on the Board Game Geek page to pull it up in front of me while I'm talking to you. But not only am I on the page, there's also an ad for it, like literally right above, from Impatience Studios. So every 25 moons, the Sphinx opens a gateway to the sunken city. Adventurers solve 9 riddles to, well, figure stuff out before it empties, and you lose access to the splendors and forgotten knowledge. Cooperative and maybe solo solitaire. That's it! Why is it getting the clicks, though? I have no idea. There is one written review over on Board Game Geek from Play It Yourself at the time of me filming this. And in case you're not familiar with them, Impatience Games, they were the ones who did the other solo games like Siberian, Scoventir, Stellarion. You know, it's a little bit lighter. It's a 25 double-sided cardboard-driven, well, riddle-based level game where you're basically laying these tiles out and cooperatively trying to make your way through the riddles before 12 turns have elapsed. You have 2 basic actions you're taking on a turn-by-turn basis, and it sort of is a little bit of the lighter style of things, just like Scoventir. So we'll see. I mean, they really seem to like it on the review, so take that for what you will. But again, I'd like to see a little more information, probably read a rule book myself personally. Harmonies is still kicking. Rebirth, I talked about that one. That campaign's going long and live right now. Harmonies, I'm still trying to buy a copy. Everyone knows where I can get a copy. That's not going to be like $70, which is what the latest person on Board Game Geek was trying to charge for a $28 game at retail. Check me out and hit me up in the comments. Slay the Spire. Oath, we talked about that in the roundup yesterday as well. The new Foundations expansion. How do you feel about that? Are you going to back it? I'm 50-50. I'll be honest with you. I haven't played it, and that's what a lot of people say. I haven't played it enough to be able to say definitively whether or not I love it, or hate it. Don't really want to get it to the table again because I don't have enough of a group dynamic to play it with repeatedly right now. So I am, truth be told, still looking at it despite owning all of Root and only playing it more so on the app rather than in person. So that is on the hotness. Terraria, again, the cluster that is Terraria. There's no designer at the time of me even filming the thing yesterday listed on the Board Game Geek page. People were very apt to point that out, and they've been in the comment section saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's, you know, not going to be a Senjutsu. It's going to be a Cosmoctopus sort of situation because those are the people behind both of those games, even though this is a different company. It's sort of the same structure, the same people-esque. So they're saying, don't worry, it's not going to be the Senjutsu communication, not getting stuff delivered. It's going to be the Cosmoctopus. I can't pronounce that for the life of me. That's onomatopoeia on a nutshell. I'm making stuff up. It's one of those videos. So that's going to be the issue. But I mean, there's like 2 preview videos, and no rule book, no real description of how turns are going to go. You just kind of dig down and, you know, do combos and have stuff happen before the end of the game happens. So people are like, well, why should I back this? It's an IP, and people are going off nostalgia. They're going off like the video game, but I'm not sure this is going to be a quite Slay the Spire, Dead Cell sort of situation, because I think a lot of people are looking at Slay the Spire right now and going, look what Contention Games did with Slay the Spire. Is it actually going to be as good? Oh, it probably is. So let's get Terraria. Wait. You don't see a rule book. They said there's going to be one out. You don't see some gameplay. They said there's going to be something out before the end of the campaign. There's no reason to back right now. None. What so freaking ever. Wait. Late pledge. Okay. So that's food for thought as well. That's why it's getting some clicks. Just for Robin, we talked about that earlier. Sands from Devere is still getting on there. Again, that's a game that I have absolutely zero interest in, but I know why it's getting the clicks and why people like it as a whole. So you can give it a look-see as well if you want a little bit of heavier of Devere side of things and see what they've got in store for you, because people seem to kind of like it. Arcs is hitting just outside the top of the hotness because it's going to be delivered in the next month. And Expedition's the base game. All of the usual other stuff, Stupor Mundi from the recent crowdfunding, Skyrise, Agemonia, Ironwood, and all of the other ones that are sort of ending right now as well, and just all of the end of the year stuff. And you're starting to see a little bit of hotness probably in the next week or so. That'll be next week's video. Games that I talked about on my top games to be on the lookout for from the UK Gaming Expo, or ones that will be making their way or waves from that aspect. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to see more of that soon. Not quite yet though, because it's this weekend. So people, I'm guessing, we'll have videos out beginning of next week at the time of all my other stuff that I just mentioned, that'll be telling you all of the best games that you should buy based off of their experiences there, or the haul videos where they picked up 47 games that you can check out as well. Yep, you know my feelings on those. But again, I always like seeing what comes of it and seeing if it's actually of interest, because you know what? You'll still be able to buy it a year from now. And the other question that I proposed in my UK Gaming Expo interested games in the first place was, how many of those from a year or two are still on lists? And truth be told, a lot of them aren't. So buyer beware just from that standpoint. That's all I've got going on. That is the video this week. Not a whole lot of news, but plenty of stuff for me to talk about, blab about, and you to watch, because I am just there. I've got nothing else. I just love talking about stuff and ranting on stuff and getting myself in trouble, hopefully not too much. So we'll see where things go, and we'll see what else comes of it, and we'll see how my predictions are with some of these games. Again, like, I easily see Grimcoven killing a couple $1 million. Mythic Battles is going to be a real tricky one, right? Like, how interested are people in it, or are they saturated? I could see that breaking a couple million too, depending on how things go, how it's priced. You know, the pledges are great priced comparatively on the secondary market, because Monolith doesn't put a lot of that stuff on the secondary market in the first place. I'd be shocked if 7th Citadel, I was almost going to say 7th Continent there, doesn't get a couple million as well. So all of those are going alongside of things, and so that's just going to be all over the place. Agemonia, again, like, people like it, and I think people are FOMOing a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if that hits 7 figures. Is Ada's Dream one of the few Euros that will hit 7 figures as well this year? I doubt it, but again, a couple 100,000 I wouldn't be surprised by, in addition from that standpoint. So yeah, boom shakalaka, question mark. So not talking about anything else, nothing else in the news, nothing else in pop culture. We're staying away from all that stuff this week. So have a great freaking day. I'm going to be doing a bunch of soccer again this morning while you guys are watching this. Just one of those weekends. My wife, again, said to the kids, she's like, I want to go. Because, again, opposite ends of town. Complete opposite ends, right? Like, she's like, one kid, one parent for each game. I'm like, honey, screw it. This is like the last weekend we're doing this. I didn't say this to her, but she said that to me tonight in front of the kids. She's like, we talked about it. Middle son. Older son said that you could choose which parent you wanted to go with you, right? Like, and this was the kid also that said last week or 2 weekends ago, like, I just want both my parents at this game. And so when your kid says that, how do you say no to that? And so my kids are also done with school, and they're going to be out of school before I'm even, halfway done with work yesterday at the time you guys watching this. And I'm just working a bunch, but we're going on vacation next month. So in July. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be good. My wife's family wants to limit screen time. I'm on vacation. I have 8 days of vacation, and you're like, okay, we're going to limit how much, not just the kids, but the adults get to use screens too. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I am getting away. This is one of the few times I get to do this at any point during the daytime whatsoever. So, you know what? I have a counter proposal. If you're going to limit my screen time, how about I say that we should all limit how, many snacks and candies people eat, because I eat, truth be told, side note here at the end, you're not watching at any point at this point because I'm just rambling, and so there's like 5 people watching, but I like talking about this stuff. It's my video, it's my channel, I can do whatever I want. So I don't eat like candy or sweets or anything. So I just feel like I should be like, okay, person that doesn't use their screen comparatively to the rest of the family, let's not have any treats or snacks, because I feel like we all need to be super healthy and we need to worry about our health more. How do you feel about them apples when the tables are turned, right? How's that one going to go over? It's okay to not do screens because they're evil, but sugar is fine. Sugar in mass quantities, right? You've seen those studies that just like lights up stuff in the brain more than cocaine. Yeah, that's sugar. Anyway, I probably won't even send that out, but it's just thoughts that go through my head because I'm like, come on. But then I'm like, well, if you're not going to let people do screens, people are going to have to play board games with me, suckers. No, people don't play a whole lot. I bring way too much and nothing ever gets played to any near extent. So I'm going to bring a lot of lighter stuff and smaller box stuff this year and hope that something gets played. Screw it. I'm bringing my Spirit Island stuff and play solo half the week. And a little Marvel United. I wish I had Multiverse before then, but we won't have it before then. But do a little bit Jagged Earth and Nature Incarnate, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe a little bit of Teaching the Loop and a Dead of Winter. I don't know. I'm done. Peace out. Abstracts all the way. I love it. You love it. Stay classy. Have a great freaking day. See you around. That was an ending, huh? Right?